Well, welcome to the agency, Allison. Were you able to find the office okay?
I was. Thank you so much for providing the directions to me. They were really helpful, and I brought along a copy of my resume for you to have
wonderful.
as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so one question I like to start out with is I always like to ask students what made them choose social work as a profession.
You know, from a young age, I always felt like I've had that natural passion and drive to help others. I definitely want to work with vulnerable populations. I feel like those are the people who are down in the trenches, and I want to get down there with them and help them at their worst get to their best. One thing I love about social work too is just the ability for growth and different career options. I like to challenge myself throughout my life, and I definitely like the idea of social work where if I'm working in one field and I want to change something up and try something new, that degree will allow me to do so.
Okay, great. So I can definitely see you have a passion for helping vulnerable clients. Tell me a little bit about why you want to work here in this organization.
I feel like I have a valuable skill set. I have a family history of addictions, so it's definitely a population that I'm passionate about working with. I think that when researching your agency, the mission and goals of the agency really aligned with both my personal values and professional, especially the idea of the core competency of integrity and competence. I definitely want to integrate those into my professional identity and carry those throughout my career.
Okay, great. Great. Another question I like to ask students is if you can describe and define your preferred learning style.
Okay. I'm definitely a kinesthetic learner. I like to do things. I like to be hands-on and right in it. And then after doing that, I definitely take the time to reflect on how the process went. And then through there, I like to receive feedback from other people, and then I'll set goals for myself on ways to improve and like continue to track that progress as well. So it's like a continued process of reflection.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, well, here at our organization, the way we structure our MSW Student Intern program is that each student has an MSW field instructor. And that is the person who maintains responsibility for helping you to develop your learning contract, completing your end of the semester evaluations, and verifying your field hours. And that's the person who is going to provide your bi-weekly supervision. So that's 1 hour of supervision every other week. And you will also be assigned potentially 1 or 2 field preceptors. So that could be someone with a degree in rehab counseling or an LPC. And those are individuals who you'll be shadowing and co-facilitating group with. So you'll get to debrief and process group with the people you're working with and doing group with, but you'll receive your formal supervision from one of our MSW field instructors on staff.
Okay, that sounds great. I definitely like the idea of working with preceptors as well, just because I can get perspectives from different degrees, especially with social work. I'll always be working with people with different disciplines, most likely. And then as well, just being able to have feedback from multiple people, because I really want this to be a great growing experience for me. I want to get all the knowledge and acquire all the skills that I can.
Okay, wonderful. Great. Another question I'd like to ask students is if they could identify an area where you feel like you need some growth and an area where you feel like you're doing really well, like a strength.
If I had to identify strengths, I'd definitely say I'm very punctual and I have a very strong work ethic. I'm a go-getter. That's always been my attitude and personality. But in turn, that kind of plays into my weakness where I have a problem when coworkers ask me for help. It's really hard for me to say no, but I also organize my time very well and structure everything, so for the most part it ends up working out.
Okay, great. Last question I like to ask is if you can tell me about a time where you had a professional conflict and how you were able to process through and resolve that.
Okay. Do you want an example from like work or from a past internship?
I think either would be fine, yeah.
Okay. At my last internship, I worked at a child advocacy center, and there came a time where the clients that I was working with, there was a dilemma between moving them immediately from one home to another because there were certain allegations, but they were not life-threatening, And it was in November, and it would change their school district. So there was an issue of whether we wanted to keep them in place for school or to immediately move them. And it was a large meeting with a lot of higher supervisors than myself, and I had the role as the intern. And a lot of them were voicing different opinions than my own, and I kind of had a conflict with how to express my opinion in a meeting appropriately, since I am an intern and since they are all above me. So internally I wanted to, stand up and say what I wanted to say, but I actually just remained quiet and kind of took everything in, and afterwards I sought some advice from my supervisor. She, kind of helped me work with conflict resolution and how to voice my opinion in a setting where people are above me, how to appropriately do that. And so I ended up setting up a meeting separately with one of the colleagues and was able to express my opinion in an appropriate manner. So I definitely learned through that how to resolve conflict, and then also to always seek out supervision, and it just validated that role of a supervisor, of how important that is to me, because it definitely allowed me to process through that and be able to appropriately execute an action.
Okay, great. Okay. So do you have any questions for me, Allison?
Yeah, I would love if you could describe an average day in the agency for me.
Sure, great. We start at 8 a.m.
Okay.
We are here punctually and on time at 8 a.m., and that's because we start our first groups at 8:30.
Okay.
And so we need that time in the morning to get our copies ready and make coffee and get everything we need together for group. Our first group runs from 8:30 to 11:30. And then we usually use the time in between 11:30 and 12 or 12:30 to work on group notes. Lunch is an hour, and then we start our afternoon groups from 1 to 3. And then after our afternoon groups, that's when we either meet with our clients individually, or we use that time to catch up on case notes and make sure that the client files are up to date.
Okay. And is there anything on my resume or anything that you would like me to elaborate further on for you?
No, I think you did a wonderful job answering all of my questions today.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. And if there's any additional material that you need, just let me know and I'll be able to send it to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Allison.
Thank you.